that kind of change result is no restart.
Big move in Bitcoin then, in contrast to all the notes I wrote pre-show, which were telling me that this was going to put Bitcoin under pressure.
The narrative that perhaps this launch of these political meme coins will sap flows from Bitcoin is showing us that it's really not the case this morning. If anything, it's just accelerated the momentum and the excitement around cryptocurrency under another Trump administration.
Hi, Dewald. What is all this FOMO about? Should I buy Bitcoin now?
Are you smoking your socks? You should rather watch my show. You should rather watch my show.
All right, legends, another live stream, another day. Let's look at the price of Bitcoin, do some technical analysis here on the smaller time frame, on the larger time frame, and look at those high probable rejection and support areas to the upside and to the downside. And also, some of the trades we entered yesterday played out to perfection. Many Elliott wave scenarios, okay? But first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep it real simple over here. Okay, really simple. Okay, we're going to just park Elliott wave theory for a moment, and we're just going to keep it simple. Look at the levels from resistance to the upside, levels of support to the downside, and then determine what are those high probable day trading scenarios. Remember, guys, the definition of day trading is in the name. Okay, day trade basically means you typically get in and out of a trade during the same day. Not the same as swing trading, which can last for weeks, sometimes even months, depending on which time frames you trade. Okay, legends, let's analyze the price of Bitcoin. Remember to smash up that like button. If you haven't done so already, maybe you forgot. Okay, remember to click that like ever so gently. Right, let me do it over here. I need to at least like my own live stream. Okay, right. If you don't love yourself, who else will? Okay, legends, remember down in the description, okay, is the exchanges that I use to do my trading. Okay, Weeks has an absolute amazing deal at the moment. Weeks has that $1 million features bonus running at the moment. You can spin a wheel to win prizes. You can do trading and reach certain milestones from a trading volume perspective to unlock prizes. You can climb the ladder board from a P&L perspective. There's so many ways in which you can earn additional cash that gets airdropped into your account. Go and take advantage of this deal. To register for this competition and to spin the wheel, you need to select the second link if you're an existing user, or if you're a first-time user, you need to use this first link to register, where you will get 20% cash back on the money that you deposit in your features account. You have to leave it there for 3 days. 25% discount on your trading fees. Not sure what you are waiting for if you haven't tried out this exchange just as yet. I also have BTCC up to $10,000 in sign-up bonuses, and Bluffin. I do see that the larger account holders really enjoy trading on Bluffin. Okay, where the more you trade, the more money gets airdropped into your account. Just by doing your normal day trading or weekly trading or monthly trading, whichever one is your strategy, okay, the best deals that these exchanges has to offer is always down in the description. Right, legends, let's dive into the alpha. Let me put myself back here onto the right-hand side. Okay, Mr. Rave, no sound. Guys, let me know if you can. Sound is good. Yes. Sound is picking up here on my side. Maybe you just need to reboot your YouTube. I'm not sure. Okay. Right. You almost made me nervous there for a second. I thought maybe I muted myself and I was just talking to myself over here. Mr. Market M. Aware, welcome. Irina, always great to see you here in the live stream. Chili Heels Bugas. Hi Dewald, welcome to the live stream. Middag meneer. Middag, welkom. Hugo, Dewald going live. Yes, there we go. Anthony, hi Dewald, welcome to the live stream. No sound. Okay, no, there's sound. There is sound. I can see myself coming through here crystal clear. Let me double check.
Launch of these political and the excitement.
What is all this FOMO about? Should I buy Bitcoin now?
Maybe you just need to reboot your YouTube. Okay, it's working on my side. It's working on my side, legends. Just wanted to double check that my sound is coming through. It's definitely working on my side. Okay, right. Never mind. It's good now. Okay, there we go. Hello, Pit Phantom. Welcome to the live stream. Sound is good. Morning, Brendan. Welcome to the live stream. It's fine, boss. Okay, cool. Sound is good. Thanks, Irina. Right, I figured it out. Right, sound is a little strange. Is sound a little... Okay, I see what the problem is. The sound is coming from my MacBook Air. Oh, my MacBook Pro. Let me try and fix it over here quickly. Okay, now I see what the problemo might be. Now, how about now? How about now, legends? It should be way better now. I, by accident, knocked my mic before I went live and I unplugged the cable, so I just plugged it back in. So the sound was coming through my MacBook Pro microphones, but now it's coming through this mic, so it should be way better now. Okay, we have sound, we have liftoff. There we go. Right, Leila J, my sister in the house as well. Welcome. Sound is good. Geen probleem. Dankie sis, waardeer. Now it's perfect. Okay, right. That's what I like to hear. Legends, let's start with the technical analysis. Let's do a little bit of a recap of what I spoke about last night and what potentially could still play out right now. Okay, there was many scenarios which I discussed last night. Okay, one of the trades that we all got in, well, hopefully all of us got into successfully yesterday, was this little long over here. And we claimed the high. And I had one level to the upside where I told everyone, pay attention. Pay attention to that level. Do you guys remember what that level was? The naked point of control here to the top. I said, guys, when I ended off the live stream, during the live stream, while I was doing the live stream, okay, I spoke about this level. And that is exactly where we got the rejection. It was a little bit choppy. It looked like it wanted to go a little bit further. But eventually, okay, we got the drop here to the downside. And guess where we bounced? Another naked point of control. So you guys can see how powerful these levels are. Okay, without knowing anything about Elliott wave theory and without being too technical, okay, you have a level, you reject. You have a level, you bounce. Right? You take those shorts and those longs with good risk management. You pay yourself profits in the bag. What more can you ask for as a day trader? Okay. Now, legends, a little bit of a scenario, a little bit of a situation that the price of Bitcoin finds itself in. Because one of the scenarios we discussed yesterday was to say that, well, you know, this could be the topping zone for Bitcoin before I dive into Elliott wave scenarios over here. This could definitely be a topping point. And $108,000, where we've also grabbed liquidity, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, we've grabbed a bunch of liquidity. I need to go to the 3-day or 48-hour chart. Okay, we also had that bunch of liquidity to the upside, and we had a nice little liquidity discussion as well, where I told people price does not necessarily gravitate towards liquidity right now, but when it gets to the liquidity, that's where you pay attention. We grabbed the liquidity, we tapped the naked point of control, we got the rejection to the downside. Okay, keeping things simple, if you shorted over here and you are not taking profits to the downside and price sweeps you out again, it's your own fault. That's your own fault. Okay, at least protect your position. Take profits when you start hitting support to the downside. Will it roll over? Maybe. But it could also find support here and continue momentum to the upside. And this is an interesting level that I want to discuss today as well. Because you could form a 3-wave corrective structure and go and take the high again. Okay. So, To the upside, legends, we do not have much resistance left. To the upside, we have now tapped the last level in the sand. So the only shorting areas that I see at the moment is still this line that's already been tapped. So the only way that I will still consider a short if price finds strength to move back to the upside is that whether this price goes straight from here or whether it first comes down and maybe then bounces and it takes that high again as a swing failure pattern from this local high. If price pumps up over here, it does not reach the all-time high at $110,000. It gets acceptance. It starts trading below my area of interest. My stop goes above the high. I short, okay, and I take profits to the downside. Right, this is still a shorting zone for me. All-time high, still a shorting zone for me, right? This is now this is now the last area of resistance. If we're going to smash these two levels, we might just continue to the upside, especially if green volume starts kicking in significantly. And I mean, it needs to really overshadow the volume that we've had up until now. So if I take the point of controls out the way, right, clean up the brushes, and this is also where we had quite a lengthy discussion last night about the volume decreasing, price continuously moving to the upside, volume decreasing. Okay, it's not what you want to see, but if for some reason price accelerates here past the all-time highs and there is significant green volume kicking in over here that supersedes all the green volume candles that we've seen so far, I'm going to be very interested in a long. Okay, I will even zoom into the 1 minute, 5 minute time frame. I'll wait for a small little consolidation. Maybe it makes those tiny little bull flags on the smaller time frames. That is how I'm going to get into that long. But I need to see the volume. Okay, I need to see the volume to support momentum to continue to the upside, because there is that slim chance, and the scenario does not carry the highest probability, that this could be a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and it's just gonna lift off. Okay, and I want to be part of that move, but I can still get into that move with good risk management. Okay, but I need volume to show me the way, and for some reason my mouse is stuffing around. Okay, cool, legends. Now, locally, the highest probable scenario. Oh, something else I wanted to discuss over here as well. Okay, let's jump back here onto the 1 hour. Let's go to the 4 hour time frame. Okay, something else I wanted to discuss here as well is that we had a scenario yesterday where we said, well, what if this is 1, 2, let's just keep it simple, 3, 4, 5. Okay, you take a time fib from the low to the high, and if the impulse came to an end over here, okay, you want the correction to continue up until the 25th of May. This scenario is no longer valid because this little wick that we had to the upside last night while I was sleeping, okay, went too high. It's an invalidation. And how I work out the invalidations are that if I, press the wrong button, try again. Okay, if I take a trend-based fib from the high to the low and I drag it across, I reverse it back to the upside. Okay, it's actually A, B, C, so it needs to be right. Was it the log scale? I saw that we tapped the 1.618, but now it actually looks like it could still be a flat to the downside. Okay, so let me retract my words. For some reason, I'm not sure why, I saw that we tapped the 1.618. For some reason, when you take your fib from the high to the low, okay, I thought we tapped the 1.618. Okay, so the scenario is still valid. A, B, C. You could still make a larger correction. Okay, so just throw that in the bin. Legends, just throw that in the bin. We have not tapped the 1.618. For some reason, I thought we tapped the 618 over here. If price did tap the 1.618, then your impulse did not end over here. Okay, so just keep that in mind for if it does play out and we tap $109,000. Okay, so for some reason I thought we tapped the 1.618, but we did not. Right, so legends, there's still a chance that we are now busy with the last stretch to the upside. Okay, one of the scenarios we discussed yesterday is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're busy with the final leg to the upside. Now the conundrum is, as per the thumbnail, is the high in? Is this the moment you need to short with everything that you have? Obviously with good risk management, because we're going to start a bigger reversal to the downside. Well, it's this structure that now needs to give us the clue. So I'm going to zoom into this structure more locally and let's go and analyze this structure. Is there a chance that this high is in, or is, does it need one more week and then we can start a deeper correction to the downside? Okay. So let's go into the 15-minute time frame and analyze this local structure quickly. So one of the scenarios we were discussing yesterday is, well, we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's done. It's finished. And once you have a 5-wave structure to the upside, that can now complete your final 5th wave for the bigger structure. And now what you want to see is impulses back to the downside. If you have not caught the short over here, so let's talk about this bearish case scenario. There's a chance that the high is in, because now at least we have a proper 5-wave structure to the upside. Because when we made this high, I told everyone on the live stream, we're going to make one more high. The probabilities are higher to still make one more high, because in the way in which we moved up was not a 5-wave structure. This was a corrective structure. We need a 5-wave structure to the upside to complete the entire big 1 hour, 2 hour structure. Now we have a 5-wave structure. So things are becoming very interesting where the price of Bitcoin is. So when we made this high and we tanked down here in a C wave, I told everyone, regardless of what happens here, I think we're going to claim that high again. It has the highest probability. And we claimed it again. But now things are becoming very, very interesting. Okay. One of the scenarios is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we are starting a deeper correction to the downside. What you would like to see for confirmation is a 5-wave structure to the downside. Remember, if we're going to start a deeper correction and this is the top, you need to start forming impulses, motive waves to the downside. So you need a 1, you need a 2, you need a 3, you need a 4, and you need a 5. So if you did not short over here and I see this structure unfold, this is where I sit on my hands. I was sleeping during that time when we tapped the naked point of control. So I missed the short. But I know that there's always another way to get into the trade. As soon as I see a 5-wave impulsive structure to the downside, because the motive wave is now moving down, I become very interested in the 3-wave structure retracement. And this is where I will enter my short. Okay, not exactly at this level. I'm just painting out the structure that could play out. I want to see a 5-wave structure down, and the 3-wave structure up is where I enter my short, stop above the high. Okay, so there's always another way to get into the trade. Right, so legends, there's a chance that the 5th wave is potentially in. Okay, so I have to highlight the scenario. There's a chance that if you shorted over here, okay, leave some of that position open for lower levels. The moon bag, pay yourself on the way down. Make sure your position is protected. Leave that moon bag open, because there's a chance that it's just going to fall from where it is right now. Now I want to discuss something that I don't like about this scenario. Okay, this wave to the upside, you can argue there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could say that maybe there's a 5-wave structure inside of there to complete your 3rd wave. Okay. On the smaller time frames, I can count 5 waves inside of the wave 1. Okay. So very nice. But now this is my concern. This structure is my concern. Very choppy, very confusing. 5-wave structure to the upside, because you need 5 waves to complete your 5th wave, 5 waves to complete your 3rd wave. So here I can force count 5 waves. Here I can clearly count 5 waves, but now this is a complete mess. I cannot count impulses to the upside, a 5-wave structure to the upside. Okay, if I go even into the 5-minute time frame, and by all means, if any of you have an Elliott wave count that supports a 5-wave structure here to the upside, please share it inside of our Legends Pro community. Link is down in the description. Here we go. Right, link is here down in the description. We do have a free section as well where you can go and join, share the chart, tag me, tell me, Dewald, go and look at it. Because sometimes we need to help each other out, but I am struggling to count 5 waves inside of here. When I start, okay, maybe this is a 1, 2, 1, 2. It can't be a 3, it's too short. 3, 4, oh shit. This one was not supposed to go into that territory. So you see it now, it's already starts invalidating itself. Okay, yesterday we also spoke about this short. I'm not sure if anyone took that short. Okay, we had a fib here from the high to the low, and we rejected at the 786. This is, you know, when I ended the live stream, this is where we got the rejection. I did jump into this short. Okay, and then, right, I think I took profits at the 50% fib. I was out, I went to bed. Right, so I did play. I was a little bit late to the party. I think my entry was a little bit lower down. Still practiced good risk management, protected my position. I got out at the 50%, went to bed. Okay, that was about 9 p.m. Sorry, 9 p.m. my time. Got out of the trade. So I still participated in the trade. And the reason I also said last night, most likely if you're going to tap this high, okay, you increase the probabilities that we're going down. Then we tapped this high and we went up. I was like, okay, now it's most likely now a 3-wave structure to the upside. Because I'm struggling to count this as a 5-wave structure. But it does count beautifully as a 3-wave structure. This counts beautifully as a 3-wave structure. And something interesting that I want to share over here as well is 3-wave structures likes the 0.618 target. Okay, it's a common target for a 3-wave structure. So I then went ahead and I said, okay, let me start measuring these structures. Because that's what I do from a technical perspective. I took a fib from this high to this low, okay, to the high. Let me reverse it. I was like, are these maybe 3-wave structures? And it's not 5-wave structures. Ooh, okay. 3-wave structure target, 0.618. Hit. So this can count as a 3-wave structure. Okay, now this is starting to give me clues. Then I was like, hang on, how does this one count to the upside? Did it also tap the 0.618? Okay, so let's look at the structure to the upside. I take a fib from the low to the high to the low. Ooh, ooh. Oh, okay, now I'm like, okay, the puzzle pieces are starting to fit together. Also, 0.618. Can you guys see how powerful these trend-based fib extension levels are? They are absolutely gorgeous. Right, now I'm like, okay, what if, okay, and this is now the scenario that I think potentially has the highest probability that I want to point out over here. Based on the measurements and based on this structure counting way... Oh, what did I do over here? Okay, wait. Sorry, Legends. I just dragged something. Okay, anyways. Based on this structure counting better as a 3-wave structure, now that puts a scenario on the table that perhaps carries the highest probability. So if I zoom out a little bit over here and I take this count out the way and I look at this count over here in an ending diagonal, a contracting ending diagonal, which is very common when you finish a larger impulse in a contracting ending diagonal. And the meaning of the pattern is in the name. Okay, you finish the structure in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then you start the correction to the downside. So now it explains to everyone why I'm still looking for a swing failure pattern from this little high. Okay, even if we go a little bit higher to the all-time high, reject, I'm still looking at this. Well, there's a high chance that this could be an ending diagonal, and then we start the correction here to the downside, because these waves can also be 3-wave waves that I've just now measured out that tap the 0.618 every single time. The rule about an ending contracting diagonal is that it has to end with 3-wave structures. Okay, so that's where it becomes very interesting to me. An ending diagonal has to end with three-wave structures. This is a three-wave structure. Okay, this could be an ABC, very extended ABC. Okay, this counts beautifully as a three-wave structure, tapping the 0.618. This looks better as a three-wave structure, tapping the 0.618. And now this could now potentially be forming another three-wave structure to complete your 4. And then you go back up for another three-wave structure to complete the 5. And then perhaps the deeper correction starts to the downside. So just something to keep in mind. It's this structure to the upside that gave me the data to say that, well, maybe, yes, guys, I'm going to say it again. Maybe one more high. I feel like I've been saying that for the last 2 weeks. One more high, one more high. The structure needs to show me that it wants to turn around. And the structure is not showing me at the moment that it wants to turn around. So we can keep on chopping, making higher lows and higher highs until I see the sign of weakness. And I'm just not seeing the sign of weakness just as yet. So, in conclusion, legends, we could potentially still make a higher low over here, even if we take this local low over here. Okay, what's interesting about that area is that we also have a daily level that has not been tapped here at the bottom. Okay, so also when I take a fib from the low to the high, okay, you can now see, well, now we have some confidence. You have the golden pocket, you have a daily level, and you have, from a price action perspective, you can see the beautiful support over here. So if price falls down here and it makes a three-wave structure, it gets the bounce and starts moving up over here. So longing opportunity, daily level, longing opportunity, and then shorting opportunity. There's a rule, there's another rule for this structure. Okay, if price is going to tap a certain level, we might be moving a lot higher, because this could also be forming 1, 2, 1, 2, and it just rock and rolls. Remember that insane bullish case scenario? Okay, so I need to keep an eye on that insane bullish case scenario as well. This contracting diagonal has an invalidation to the upside. Remember, your third wave is not allowed to be the shortest. And you can already see that your first wave is longer than your third wave, which means that your fifth wave has to be the shortest. Otherwise, it invalidates this pattern. Okay, so what I then did is I said, okay, let's take a trend-based fib. Let me measure how long this third wave is. Okay, so now I got the measurement. If I now speculate on where potentially the fourth wave can end, and let's say the fourth wave ends over here in this little zone over here, and I drag it across. If price does, if this scenario does play out, let's just, what if the scenario plays out and price starts moving up here, and it taps the 1-to-1 extension, invalidated. Because then it means that your fifth wave and your first wave are the longest wave, and this one is the shortest. It invalidates the ending diagonal, and we could be looking at a structure that's going to continue a little bit higher. Could be that breakout that no one is expecting. Maybe green volume starts to kick in. You remember the insane bullish case scenario that I'm looking at? That could potentially open up the door for that insane bullish case scenario. The most interesting level that I will keep in mind is the 0.618, because there's a 0.618 over there. There's a 0.618 over there when you measure these three-wave corrective structures. So the 0.618 and the 786, which aligns with the top of this little trend when you connect these two little pivots over here. If we reject successfully in this zone and price starts falling down, it loses the trend. Okay, that's going to be signs of weakness. That's really going to be signs of weakness. And we could be finally starting a much deeper or longer correction. Okay, either sideways or to the downside. Okay, so legends, here is your bullish case scenario. So there's a scenario where we make one more high and we reject. You don't want to tap the 1-to-1 extension because that potentially activates the insane bullish case scenario. right? So this is basically another swing failure from the high. So you can play this as a swing failure pattern. Price pumps up here, turns around, falls back down. My stop goes above the high. I enter the weakness. Okay, I want price to trade below my area of interest, or you can use your trend-based extension lines as swing failure lines and have better, tighter risk management. But we also have to keep in mind, because as always, there's a bullish and a bearish case scenario. Okay, if I take the scenario out the way and I purely just look at this structure, okay, there's a count which I've just shared. There's a count where this is completed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I told everyone I don't like this structure, but I have to talk about it. What if price just tanks to the downside? We have to consider this scenario. What if somehow there is a 5-wave structure inside of here? It's not a 3-wave structure. Okay, so it's not the highest probability, but I need to talk about it because nothing ever, okay, the market is here to surprise us. I can potentially say, okay, well, this little structure that is formed here to the downside on the 1 minute, let's go to the 1 again, and now I'm really being very pedantic, okay? On the 1 minute time frame, one could argue 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, okay? Maybe you have an impulsive structure here to the downside. Okay, if you want to force count this structure, this could be an impulsive structure here to the downside. Double 1-2s, triple 1-2s, and then it has that choppy. So it basically starts with a grind, it ends with a grind, it has the high amount of volume in the middle, which basically means 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5. The structure comes to an end. This is your corrective structure to the upside, and it's going to build an impulse back to the downside. And the way that I will jump into this short, if I go back here, is what I've explained in the beginning of the live stream. Then if this is the end of the impulse, we're not going to take this high again. I'm going to be very patient. I want to see 1, 2, 3 with volume. I want to see selling volume kicking in here with this wave to the downside. And I want to see another 4 and a 5 on less volume. The retracement is where I'm planning to get in. Okay, because this is the biggest sign of weakness that you can see to the downside, a 5-wave impulsive structure to the downside. If you get a 3-wave corrective structure, bearish CVD building up against these pivots that's forming over here, that's my ticket to short. So there's a couple of ways in which I can get into these trades, but it's about identifying these scenarios and having a plan. Okay, I have a plan for above the highs. And I have a plan if we fall here down to the downside, even claiming this low. But I cannot just FOMO in here in a short, speculating on God knows what. I can't get in with good risk management. The why for me is not strong enough. Once I see a 5-wave structure to the downside and I enter a trade over here, my reason for why I'm entering is because I see motive waves to the downside. I'm entering the retracement. Maybe there's some bearish CVD, so my why is a lot stronger after I see what I need to see from a structural perspective. And this is sometimes why you have to be patient with your trade. You just have to sit on your hands, you have to wait for the price action to play out to show you the way. Okay. At the moment, price is in a no trading zone. There's a small little long. Let me put on my point of controls again. Okay, there's a small little long that you could have taken. Well, I mean, guys, if you took the short, beautiful. If you took this long, I saw some of the pro members actually jumped into this long, beautiful. What I don't like about this momentum currently here to the upside is that I'm spotting some weakness over here. Okay, let's just refresh CVD. I mean, it did take this pivot over here, but you still have bearish CVD building up. You still have bearish CVD, okay, building up over here. So I'm seeing some local weakness. Before price had this little candle here to the upside, as price was moving up here, there was bearish CVD, bearish CVD, bearish CVD, okay? And now we swing failure from this little high, Okay, so there's a chance that this could turn into a three-wave structure, and that daily level that we have over here is where I'm going to pay attention to. Golden pocket, daily level. Maybe, you know, if we can get that three-wave corrective structure, that could be the bounce that claims the highs, and then I have a better entry for a short to the downside. Okay, legends, remember to smash up that like button for the education, for the alpha. Let me go through some more comments. Well, I need to find my comments because for some reason... Oh, here we go. Found the comments. Dewald, could the fourth wave already be in? The fourth wave? Oh, on the ending diagonal. Yes, it can. I just don't like the local weakness. Okay. So, ideally what I like to see is a nice three-wave structure. You know, like this. Look at this, okay? Or look at this. You see a nice three-wave structure. So one could argue that you have a three-wave structure inside of this mini range over here. One could argue, but now you have bearish CVD building up against these pivots as price is moving to the upside. Okay, so is there a chance? Yes, there's always a chance. I know the Legends Pro community, okay, when you enter a long, and you had your stop below the low, you should now have a free trade. Maybe you can even move your stop loss above your entry. When you start hitting resistance to the upside, simplest way to do resistance is you take a fib from the high to the low of the structure. Okay, your Fibonacci levels always becomes profit-taking areas. You have hit a profit-taking area. If you did not pay yourself over here, well, that's up to you. Okay, depending on your trading plan. Okay, so you either paid yourself or you didn't pay yourself. If you did pay yourself and price stops you out, at least you get stopped out with profits. If you entered this trade speculating on the high to be claimed, then at least get stopped out at break even. Okay, it really depends on your rules, where you plan to take profits and how much profits you plan to take at those levels. You just never know. Okay, so is there a chance for the fourth wave to be in? There's a chance, I just don't like it. Okay, because it's, you know, also from a symmetry perspective, if I go back here onto the 15-minute time frame, let's look at that structure again. Just want to take this out the way, switch it on. Okay, so it's a very narrow structure. Okay, it's a very narrow structure. Okay, anyways, it's purely from a look and feel perspective and because of the bearish CVD that I'm seeing over there. Also, I would like to see a clear three-wave structure. There's also another invalidation, by the way, for this structure to the downside. Okay, if you take a parallel channel, guys, I'm showering you guys with education that you're going to pay a lot of money to get the education somewhere else. Okay, you're going to pay for this education. If you take a parallel channel and you connect 1 and 3 and you drag it to number 2, okay, let me put in a line over here. This, ladies and gentlemen, let me put in a line. Let me make it nice and thick. Make it red. Take the parallel channel out the way. That is your invalidation for this contracting diagonal. Okay, you want the structure to stay contracting. It needs to contract and squeeze towards each other. Okay, meaning that your gap needs to be smaller here than your gap is over here. If the fourth wave taps this level over here, it invalidates the contracting diagonal because then it's an expanding diagonal, never preferred unless all other scenarios fail. Okay, it's just you do get expanding triangles, but they are very rare, never preferred unless all other scenarios fail. Okay. Right, so you have an invalidation over here, and you have an invalidation at, let me drag that fib again, from the low to the high to the low, okay? We need the fourth wave to be finished, okay? So there's your invalidation to the top for this contracting diagonal, and here's your invalidation at the bottom. So if the 4 and the 5 stays within these two ranges, you have a valid contracting diagonal. Okay, so definitely swing failure from the high. 786, I will be paying attention. Okay, because you could get a much better entry over here. It would actually be nice to get a little bit of a breakout out of the trend. You get that breakout. Okay, it pumps up here. It gets the breakout. It looks like it wants to rock and roll. People are, you know, the breakout traders are going long with everything they have. They're throwing the leverage at the trade, and it bounces, and it gets acceptance back below. Okay, that's a sign of weakness. You put your stop above the high, right? And you could be heading, especially if you lose this trend over here and you tap, okay, you claim the fourth wave, wherever it's going to form over here. So, guys, technically that is what I'm seeing here at the moment. Okay, remember the invalidation to the upside. If we tap the invalidation to the upside, okay, guys, remember, these are not the exact same levels. Okay, from a price perspective, I need the fourth wave to be finished. And I need to see momentum to the upside so that I can draw this fib properly, where the fourth wave is going to finish over here. At the moment, I'm just speculating that it is going to finish over here. So depending on where the fourth wave finishes, I will have a fresh fib pool, and these levels might be slightly different. Maybe the fourth wave goes a little bit lower, okay? But you still have a contracting diagonal that doesn't tap the invalidation over here. As long as this trend does not do this, where it's a parallel channel, it's valid. So it can dip a little bit lower. It still has some room to breathe over there, definitely. Something interesting. I need to zoom on to the 5-minute time frame. Let's speculate. Guys, this is getting very technical, but this is, you know, this is what I do. If this is forming a 3-wave structure now to the downside, where does the 0.618 lie? That's now the interesting question, because so far we got the rejections exactly at the 0.618 level. So I can take a fib from the high to the low to this high that's now been formed. Okay, there you have it. If history is going to repeat itself like it did over here, 0.618. 0.618. Fib goes from the high to the low to the high. Fib goes from the low to the high to the low. In both of these instances, we tapped the 0.618. Now I've taken a fib from the high to the low to the high. Pay attention. Okay, this is where you want price to find support if it has any chance of claiming the high again to the upside. Right, legends, and remember, if you want to support the channel so I can continue bringing you guys the alpha, the links for the exchanges that I used for my day trading where you get the best deals available is down in the description. Let's go to some comments. Hi Dewald, what's your experience with scale into a position? Is that something you do or have done in your career? I see often you use leverage, and I assume you size 100% at your point of entry. So from a day, it's a very difficult question to answer. It depends on whether I'm opening up a swing trade or whether I'm opening up a day trade. Usually in my day trade, I'm all in at the level that I enter with good risk management. My stop loss is never further. I would say on average, my stop loss is never further away than 0.5 to 1%, which means that I can trade 100% of my capital, and if I get stopped out, I only lose 1% of my trading capital. Or you can trade with 1% of your capital at 100x leverage. If your stop loss is closer than 1% away, you still won't get liquidated, you'll get stopped out. So from a day trading perspective, if I had to enter, let's use an example over here. It's a very good question. Okay, if I had to enter over here, I'm 100% in over there. My stop goes above the high. Okay, and I mean to show everyone, if I zoom into this little structure, let's take this out. Okay, so if I had to enter this trade, I like to plan my trade. Okay, you use your short tool. So let's say I was a little bit late. I didn't nail it to perfection. Maybe I got in over here, but I saw the weakness. Let's say I entered over there. My stop goes above the highs. I'm targeting the point of control at the bottom. Because this is a question I got asked this morning in the Legends Pro community. When people entered the short, Okay, when people entered the short, they asked me where do they need to take profits, and I said, well, for me this is a TP1. Okay, this is definitely a TP1. Right, so I mean, look at the risk to reward, a 15.7 risk to reward. Well, this is TP1, this is TP2. Okay, this is how I highlighted the trade. But look at my stop loss, it's 0.1% away. So even if I trade it with 200 or 300x leverage, you still won't get liquidated before you get stopped out. Which, you know, and so from a simple terms perspective, I can trade with 3 times my capital. So 100% of my capital at 3x leverage. 1% of my capital at 300x leverage is the same thing. Okay, it's exactly the same thing. Right, so that is how I enter day trades. From a swing trade perspective, like I've done on Theta. Okay, when we entered the Theta trade, because now that's a swing trade that I was entertaining, is to say, guys, I'm entering with, I'm just using, I can't exactly remember the levels that I've entered, but guys, I'm entering with 0.5% of my capital, and I had a limit order over here, I think, at the 1.618, I had a limit order. I'm entering now with 0.5% of my capital. I have a limit order at another 1.618 level where I will then enter with 1% of my capital, 2%, 3%, depending on what your risk appetite is. I don't recommend going over 3% or 2%, especially if you're still starting out. And I had my stop loss at the 0.618. This is where I had my stop loss. Okay. I can't drag this. Oh, there we go. This was the trade. That was the trade. I am speculating on a fourth wave. So this now is a swing trade because it takes many days to play out. It's not a day trade. Okay. I'm speculating at price to find support at the 50% Fibonacci, because if this structure is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 year to the upside to come and claim the highs again, I don't want the 618 to be tapped because that invalidates a fourth wave. So this is where my stop loss goes. This is where I build my entry. I add it to the position with limit orders, and it's the only time I use limit orders. And this is where I plan to take profits. And then obviously a lot of things happened. Okay, I told everyone I took profits over here. I then protected my position, and I told everyone, well, if price is going to reverse now, it's most likely going to go down lower. So it needs to start finding strength at the moment. So I'm still in the Theta trade. I've taken a little bit of profits and my position is protected. If it turns against me, then at least I get stopped out with a little bit of profit. Yes, I would like the Theta trade to still shoot up here to the upside, complete this final fifth wave. That would be absolutely wonderful. But I'm also not too concerned, because if price turns against me, then at least, you know, a winning trade doesn't turn into a losing trade. So very powerful. It's yeah. Initially I did say I'm just going to let the trade play out. I'm just going to let the trade play out. But that risk management monster inside of me just, you know, it was screaming the whole time, Dewald, protect position, Dewald, protect position. Why did you not take? I just love to take profits when a trade moves in my favor, and I love to protect my positions. It's so built into my DNA because it was such a hard lesson for me to learn. And when you've learned very hard lessons from a trading perspective, you cannot help yourself anymore. When your profit, when your trade is in your favor, you just can't help but to take profits and but to protect position. And if you get stopped out, you look for another opportunity. It just, you know, and this is sometimes, no one is perfect. I'm not a perfect trader. I still make mistakes as a trader. The trick is how little mistakes can you make and how many things can you do right. One of the things that I still struggle with is swing trades. Okay, because often I plan the most beautiful, one of my strengths is actually looking for opportunities. That's one of my strengths. I always find the best opportunities. One of my weaknesses is swing trades. I get impatient. Price moves up and I see the profits, and sometimes what happens is roundabout, you know, when you start hitting resistance over here, I'm already 90-80% out of my position, and then the trade plays out to perfection. I'm like, shit, you know, I should have just taken less profits to the upside and taken majority of my profits at the TP1. So I still struggle with swing trades, although they often play out. So that's something that I still struggle with as a swing trader. But as a day trader, I'm in and I'm out. I'm making my money. I'm making my money. So sometimes my day trading impacts how I swing trade as well. And I'm sure if you're a professional swing trader, that could impact how you day trade. Because maybe if you're a professional swing trader, you're not taking enough profits when you are day trading. Okay, so it can go the other way as well. So there are still some things that I struggle with as a trader as well. But at least I am paying myself, okay? Pat on the back. At least I'm paying myself, and at least I'm protecting my positions. So although I'm exiting these trades prematurely and taking too much profits as price moves in my favor, at least I am taking profits, and at least I am protecting my position. So I'm also like, I've learned the lessons the hard way. But from a swing trading perspective, I need to learn to leave more of my position open for longer, because you wait so long for the trade to play out. You wait so long, and it really, I don't think that I am a very patient trader when it comes to profits. I see profits in my bag and I want it. Okay, I want to take my profits. And this is why my strength is day trading. That's where I make most of my money, is in day trading. Okay, so I often plan the most beautiful swing trades. I just need to learn to leave more of my position open for higher levels. Okay. Dewald, could you check Rune? Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Crypto Princess here in the house. Welcome, Mrs. Crypto Princess. Welcome to the live stream. Guys, so this is basically what I see here at the moment. Okay, I will go through more comments in a moment. I just want to see weakness and strength at the moment. Okay, it looks good. Right. Could you check out Rune? Okay, let me see if I have time for some altcoins. Guys, I sometimes get scared to look at altcoins, because as soon as I look at an altcoin, the views, people just jump off the live stream. So when I get an altcoin request, I'm like, must I? Okay, I don't want people to leave the stream. People are most probably more interested in Bitcoin here at the moment. But I've said what I needed to say here on Bitcoin. Okay, so, and I hope you guys are learning from a risk management perspective how important it is to manage your risk. Okay, I'm going to leave that level there. This is a very important Fibonacci. Okay, sometimes you have to dirty the kitchen ever so slightly, okay, to make delicious food. So for me, I'm going to leave this Fibonacci over here. If price does continue here to the downside, 0.618, you have the daily level smack bang in the middle. So this is a very, very interesting longing opportunity. Not tapping the invalidation for the fourth wave. Okay, still expecting a high SFP from the high or from the 0.618 level that we've identified to the upside. So guys, there's potential, there's many opportunities. If price invalidates this triangle, taps the bottom over here, and we form impulses, a 5-wave structure, it's the retracement that I'm interested in shorting. So I have my plan to the upside and to the downside. I don't want price to catch me off guard. Okay, as a technical trader, for me, the most important thing that I can do is to have a plan every single way, left, right, center, up, down. I want to have a plan. If price pumps, yeah, like a rocket to the upside, I want to have a shorting plan. I want to have my levels. I know exactly what I'm looking for. If price falls here to the downside in a 5-wave structure, I have a shorting plan. If price gently falls down here, taps this, I have a longing plan. So I have a plan everywhere. So price must just go towards my area of interest. That's where I become interested as a trader. I do not trade towards my area of interest. I trade from my area of interest. My area of interest is here, here, and then after I see a 5-wave structure over here. Short, long, short. I have a plan everywhere. So depending on how price plays out, hopefully I have a trade in one of those zones, either to the upside, to the downside. Okay, because yeah, if this long gets executed successfully, it claims the high, this is a long and a short to the downside. Okay, this one is going to take a lot more patience if we get a 5-wave structure to the downside. Okay, so I will check out Rune in a second, Fernando. I will check out Rune in a second. Dewald, Crypto Princess, welcome, welcome. Appreciate you being here. Bahart, I'm looking to long H-bar. Now, you guys are still interested in some altcoins, I see. Still interested. Dewald, what is CVD doing? It is moving up and down. Okay, but it still looks bearish, right? It still looks very bearish. If I look at CVD, guys, and for those of you that don't know CVD and why I look at CVD, it's the only indicator that I use. You will not see any indicators, okay, on my chart. There's no moving averages, there's no RSIs, there's no MACDs, there's no Lux indicators. I used to have those things, okay. The best thing you can teach yourself as a trader is to read price action. And if you do introduce an indicator to your trading strategy after you've learned price action, make sure that it positively contributes towards your winning rate. Okay, the only indicator that I keep an eye on is CVD, cumulative volume delta. Okay, so at the moment it still looks weak. You have, okay, let me just grab my tool over here. You have a low over here, and you have a low over here, and you have a low over there on both yellow and white. Okay, and look at how far CVD is from these lows. Okay, if price made this low and CVD was here, now that is bullish. That is bullish. I would have said, okay, guys, maybe, just maybe, we're going to get the successful bounce that's just going to take the high from here. A higher probability. But all I'm seeing is weakness at the moment. Okay, so there's still a chance that price could still continue to roll down here and claim these lows based on the weakness that I'm seeing on CVD. Never a guarantee. The CVD indicator that I'm using over here is considered to be 74% accurate. Let's just do it a round number. It's 70% accurate. I have yet to find any indicator, whether you pay $1,000 for an indicator that is more than 74% accurate. I have not seen or found any indicator that's more than 74% accurate. It's just the way it is. Okay, no indicator is 100%. And if there was a 100% indicator, I think a lot of us would be making a lot more money. Let me say, but Dewald, for that 112 on the 5-minute time frame to the upside, the second wave doesn't count as a 5-wave structure. 112 on the 5-minute time frame. The second wave, yes, it's the same problem, Jack. Just to highlight your comment over here, it's the same problem. Okay. Some people I see some people are looking at this as a 1-2-1-2, and it's going to rock and roll here to the upside. So this is your problem. You don't have five waves in this one, but it's also the problem for a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is the end, and we're just going to fall down. So you have the same problem for a 1-1-2, and for the impulse to end over here, you have this problem. You have a 3-wave structure problem. And which is why this scenario that you see right over here, for me, now carries the highest probability. Because this contracting diagonal is allowed to have 3-wave structures to the upside. Because you can count this as a 1, 2, 3. You can count this as a 1, 2, 3. Okay? You can count this as a 1, 2, 3. 618, 618. Tap the 618 every single time. And now you have this 618 over here. It would be interesting to see how this plays out. Okay. So, Jack, very interesting comment. Litecoin, hi Dewald, hope you are well. BTC prophecy maker. Guys, I'm just trying my best from a technical perspective. All I'm trying to do is I really try and stay as neutral as I possibly can and show you the bullish and the bearish case scenarios. Because any trader that is worth his or hers or his salt will always have a bullish and a bearish case scenario. You can't just be biased in one direction. Okay. And like I said, guys, I have a shorting plan. I have a longing plan. Depending on where price goes, I will execute my trade. I will either be in a short or I'll either be in a long. Or I can have a short and a long during the same day. From a day trading perspective, you should not have bias. And I will even go as far as to say from a day trading perspective, you should not even have prices. You should not have time. You don't need prices and time. All you need is this. All you need is this. You do not care about price. You do not care about time and dates and things like that, unless you use the time fib from a technical perspective. But I have seen some very successful traders, they hide their prices. They don't need it. They don't want to know Bitcoin is at $500,000. They don't care. They're just trading the structure in front of them. They get in, they get out. That's it. Okay, quick. Right, legends, let's quickly look at Rune. I was looking at this Doge trade, by the way. I highlighted this I highlighted this Doge trade inside of our Legends Pro community this morning when we were here. Again, I said, guys, okay, it looks like we're breaking out. We're closing some high time frame candles above. I'm going to enter a small little position. My stop goes below the low. All I'm doing is I'm applying my trading strategy. Okay, I'm still in this trade. I'm currently underwater, but I did enter with very little capital, and I'm just going to let it play out. Because it still has a chance of breaking out. Okay, and then I'm going to start taking profits here on the way up. Profits. Leave some of the position open for these levels over here. I don't know what Bitcoin's going to do to the upside. These structures might play out. Okay, and often it is better just to analyze the chart in front of you. Okay, right. Anyways, Legends, I'm not sure if any one of you took this trade this morning with me in the Legends Pro community. Some of you might have been laughing. I saw that this ETH trade was also highlighted. I think there was an ETH trade as such highlighted. Okay, claim the high at least. Stop goes over here, something like this, if I'm not mistaken. And rightfully so, because Mr. Gameboy Advanced or Dylan did say, okay, that he is expecting a pullback and that will be the best entry for then the pump to the upside. He did speak about the pullback. If you go look at the picture that he posted, because I saw a lot of people said, I'm so glad I'm not in the ETH trade. Well, the ETH trade is still valid. You're still above the trend. This is most probably a retest for continuation back to the upside. So Dylan still called this trade, I think, beautifully. Okay, this could be a beautiful retest for continuation to the upside. It's not invalidated. If price gets acceptance back below the trend, okay, this is why your stop needs to be there. Because if price gets acceptance back below the trend, that is a sign of weakness. You want to be out, like the Doge trade. Anyways, it's a small position. It's either going to run or it's going to stop me out. Okay, right. Let's see how this plays out. Okay. Someone asked the question, Dewald, can the fourth wave be in? I just want to touch on it to say there's a chance. There's a chance that your fourth wave can be in. Okay? There's a chance. But then, okay, that's why I say, guys, I don't care what price does next. If price comes to my area of interest, I'm going to be looking for shorts. So if price goes up first, it means I'm missing the long. I don't care because there's a shorting opportunity. If price comes down, then I have a longing opportunity as well. And if price pumps, then I have a shorting opportunity. But if price leaves my zone and it just continues to pump here, well, there was an opportunity to get in. I saw a lot of the pro members jumped into this opportunity over here. Position protected, you pay yourself on the way up. We did hit the 0.382. Leave some of the position open. We might go claim the local high. Okay. Sorry, I need to go and look at Rune. I keep on distracting myself. Okay, Rune. Let's do this. USDT. 4% up today. Rune is actually doing really well compared to some of the other altcoins today. Up 4% compared to most of the altcoins that are up 2%, 1%, and most of them are in the red, except for WIF. WIF is up 7% today. Okay, and then Pepe up 4%. So still a lot of love going into the meme ecosystem. So let me just go here onto the 4-hour time frame. Ooh, Mr. Rune. Mr. Rune, you are an absolute monster. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I still expect one more high. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. It has to be a double 1, 2 because this one overlapped the territory of 1. It's not allowed in an impulse. So it has to be a 1, 2, 1, 2. one could argue 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. I know that altcoins likes to have very tiny fourth waves. For some reason, I have seen it in altcoins. They get very tiny fourth waves. But in an ideal scenario, what you want to see is a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. It just looks a little bit better in balance. Okay. So there's also a chance, like, you know, I've highlighted the crazy Doge trade, the Theta trade that I'm still in. Okay, it's this broken trend, it's consolidating outside, so maybe, you know, it still has a chance to get some upwards momentum. The ETH trade is now doing its retest. It still has a chance for upwards momentum. Okay, so Rune is not a token that I day trade. Okay, I'm very selective about which tokens I day trade. But let's see. Okay, one could argue that it's breaking out. It's breaking out of trend, so you apply your trading strategy. Okay, so remember, you have to plan your trade. Okay, so you have to plan your trade. If you entered the breakout, your TP is at the high, stop goes below the low. 2.16, it's like my absolute minimum requirement for a trade. Okay, absolute minimum requirement. Okay, so it has a chance for upwards momentum over here. Three-way structure in A, B. Anyways, I'm not going to go and try and count this in detail at the moment. Right, legends, remember, come and trade with me. Links down in the description. Weeks is still 20% cash back on the money that you deposit in your features account, 25% discount on your trading fees, and they also have that $1 million event. Let's call it an event running at the moment. You can spin the wheel. You can spin a wheel and win prizes. You can swing the most amount of volume and win prizes. You can have the highest P&L and win prizes. So there's many ways in which to win prizes and grab your share of up to $1 million. And that is the link where you register. Right, legends, I have unfortunately run out of time. And have yourselves an amazing day. Until the next one, cheers for now.